Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachariyamu Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nigamakalpatarurgalitam phalam sukamukadamritadravya samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvibhavuka. Hare Krishna. We want to give thanks to especially Archita Prabhu. He gave us this traded off his Bhagavatam class with us. Thank you, Prabhu. And to all the assembled Vaishnavas and online. You get used to give class in your own temple, and when you go somewhere else, you realize that so you have to check yourself, see if you're speaking according to parampara. So I hope I can say something for your benefit and also for my purification. So thank you. We're in a very there's feedback. Okay. We're in a very sweet and beautiful section of the Bhagavatam. I think this is many devotees' favorite, Dhruva Maharaj, his story. And specifically now, there are so many in the Bhagavatam, is like a stream of prayers. But if you heard the few previous verses, it explained that they were not. Of course, it says every line in Bhagavatam is perfect. But Dhruva Maharaj, these prayers came from his heart after he had the touch of what? The Shankha on his head of Lord Narayan. So Srila Prabhupada said, when one is, in a few verses earlier, he said if someone is on the devotional platform, spiritual platform, then whatever comes from his mouth is equal to Shabda Brahman. So we have a lot to learn from all of these expressions. And so today we'll read the next verse, which is 12. Okay? So I was just wondering if you can keep it on later. I just want to read some other part after, okay? If time allows. So I will chant, please repeat it after me. Tena smarantyatitaram priyamishamartyam ye chan vada sutta suridgrihavaitadaraha ye tvabjana bhavavadiya padaravinda shogandhyalubdharidayeshu krita prasanga tena smarantyatitaram priyamishamartya ye chan vada sutta suridgrihavaitadaraha ye tvabjana bhavavadiya padaravinda sogandhyalubdharidayeshu krita prasanga tena smarantyatitaram priyamishamartyam
Tena smarantyatitaram priyamishamartyam
Na, never. Smaranti, remember. Atitaram, highly. Priyam, dear. Isha, O Lord. Martyam, material body. Ye, they who. Cha, also. Anu, in relationship with. Adaha, that. Suta, sons. Surit, friends. Griha, home. Vittha, wealth. Daraha, and wife. Ye, those who. To, then. Abjanaba, O Lord, who have a lotus navel. Bhavadiya, of your. Padaravinda, lotus feet. Sogandhya, the fragrance. Lubda, have achieved. Hridayeshu, with devotees whose hearts. Krita prasanga, have association. Did it drop? Or okay. Okay. So I'll read a translation. O Lord, who have a lotus navel, if a person happens to associate with devotees whose hearts always anchors after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance, he is never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to materialistic persons. Indeed, he does not care for them. Please repeat. O Lord, who have a lotus navel, if a person happens to associate with a devotee whose heart always anchors after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance, he is never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to materialistic persons. Indeed, he does not care for them. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. A special advantage in devotional service is that devotees not only enjoy the transcendental pastimes of the Lord by hearing and chanting and glorifying them, but also are not very much attached to their bodies, unlike the yogis who are too attached to the body and who think that by performing bodily gymnastic exercises they will advance in spiritual consciousness. Yogis are generally not very much interested in devotional service. They want to regulate the breathing process. This is simply a bodily concern. Here Dhruva Maharaj plainly says that the devotee has no more bodily interest. He knows that he is not the body. From the very beginning, therefore, without wasting time in bodily exercises, a devotee searches out a pure devotee and simply by his association becomes more advanced in spiritual consciousness than any yogi. Because a devotee knows that he is not the body, he is never affected by bodily happiness or distress. He is not interested in bodily relationships with wife, children, home, bank balance, etc., or in the distress and happiness which come from these things. This is the special advantage of being a devotee. This status of life is possible only when a person is interested in associating with a pure devotee who always enjoys the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Saksurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stopitam Yena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishvari Vrishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum rangayate girim yad kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. So, O Lord, who have a lotus navel, if a person happens to associate with a devotee whose heart always anchors after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance, he is never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to materialistic persons. Indeed, he does not care for them. So this is it's been like a sequel to yesterday's verse. Dhruva Maharaj realization after 6 months of unprecedented tapasya that the most precious gift and opportunity is prasanga, intimate association with advanced devotees. Here again, krita prasanga. So, Dhruva Maharaj was not, it's interesting because he wasn't planning to go and meet devotees, he wanted to meet the Lord personally, right? That was like, I'm going to ask something from Krishna here that nobody else can give me. So that's naturally, that's naturally the sequence. Okay, we hear about God, so we want a relationship with God. And then when on due course, because of his sincerity, it says that Krishna is dwelling in each one of us heart. And when a desire is there to meet him, which only come after many births, then he makes arrangement that we are allowed to associate with Vaishnav, pure devotee. What is it? Guru, Krishna Kripa Guru Mile. When Krishna's actual mercy is there, one will receive opportunity to meet sadhu. This is the you can say, the confirmation. Guru Kripa Krishna Mile. And by association of such devotee, one will be, or by the mercy of the Guru, one will meet Krishna. Yeah. So that wasn't his intention initially, but Narada Muni found out about him, and you know the story. And he was able to appreciate that whatever success he had to achieve the mercy of the Lord, and in his process, Bhakti Yoga, he could realize it's because he had this association with Narada Muni. Yeah? And now he's praising that such personalities allow one to cross, he said yesterday, the ocean of nations. And he says whoever associates with such persons loses interest in material life. So this is the special, characteristic of the Bhakti Marg. And especially in Bhagavad tradition, maybe even more in Gaudiya tradition, there's emphasis on Guru. Yeah? On worship of spiritual master. Which is the key to all success. And specifically, in this particular verse, it talks about devotee. This is probably the longest phrase I've seen for describing devotee. You can't see it now. Bhavadiya padaravinda sogandhya lubdharidayeshu is someone who's like always anchoring in his heart for the fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna. That's the name for a devotee. So, I think you guys know all the shlokas, but this is confirmed in many places in Bhagavatam. That if we're hoping to develop in Krishna consciousness, this is going to happen in a proportion where we are attached to devotee. So Krishna Bhakti doesn't come on its own. Initially, there's no Krishna Bhakti without Guru Bhakti. So it's like in sequence, yeah? And this is described in many places, specifically Prahlad Maharaj teaching, Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova Mita Vipadyeta Griya Vratanam Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram Puna Punaschara Vitacharavananam. One, by his own effort, cannot Matirna Krishne. He cannot become attached to Krishna by his own effort, however hard he tries. And in fact, he cannot do so by his own effort, by the advice of others, or Prabhupada said, by giving big conferences also. Then what is next? Prahlad Maharaj says, Yes. I'm looking for the next shloka. Anyway, I should have noted this one down. But he explained that this particular perfection of becoming attached to Krishna, he's telling Hiranyakashipu, is that Mahat Padara Vishekam Niskincanana Navrinita Yavat. So this is possible only after having exclusively taken shelter at lotus feet of a Mahatma. Yeah. So, in other words, the process will act when we have established relationship with Guru. Then, because this is the process And how much emphasis Srila Prabhupada put on this? Yeah, we come in front of Radha Govinda in the morning and we praise the glories of Guru. So that's because whatever, if someone has achieved the favor of his Guru, then definitely Govinda has automatically the favor of Govinda. And then also, you also know this one, but this is Jalabhara talking to King Rahugana. We're in 5th canto. And he says, Rahu gane tat tapasa nayati nache jaya nirvapanad griyadva nakchandasane vajalagni suryair vina mahatpadarajobhishekam. Unless, O my dear king, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotee, one cannot realize the absolute truth. He says so many other processes that cannot give us that perfection. So, you see devotee from Prabhupada, he says, without wasting time in any other process, one from beginning should endeavor to seek association of pure devotee and make advancement. And you see in Bhakti Yoga, Prabhupada is put the emphasis, I think we all have experience, someone who becomes, by mercy and by previous life merit, he becomes interested in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, immediately on a much higher platform than any yogi. And devotees can tend to make jokes about it, but we don't care that much about the body sometimes as devotees. And that's like an opulence of devotees also. But if you meet persons walking on the path of yoga, for example, they're very concerned, like how my body's keeping up and how I should follow strictly so many guidelines and Prabhupada says it's a bodily concern. He's laying it flat for us. It is a bodily concern. Like beside the activities of rendering service to the personality of Godhead, every activity you can possibly do is material activity. It's going to be like somewhere in a spectrum of either sense gratification or desire for liberation or desire for mystic perfection or a mix of any of these. But any activity you don't do, that the soul doesn't do for rendering service to the Supreme, it falls under material activity. Yeah? Bhukti siddhi kami, bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakalaya shanta. Whoever acts for another reason than for the pleasure of Krishna is acting for his own pleasure in different variety. Yeah, so devotee, this is the mercy of this path, immediately becomes more advanced than any jnani, any yogi, simply if he find the association of an exalted soul and accepts him in his life. Now, association is, Prabhupada said something important in the last sentence here. First of all, he's talking about, specifically the verse is explaining that one becomes like miraculously renounced by pure devotees association. Yeah? Murli Manohar Prabhu was explaining yesterday about particularly this point, that by any amount of our own endeavor, can we surmount the attraction of material energy? Yeah, everybody has experience. So this, he was explaining, energy is Krishna's energy. And we're not meant to battle it like one-on-one. Otherwise, it's not definitely not a fair match, you can say. Now, devotees either, unlike jnanis, we're not like striving for renunciation, right? Let me become renounced. It's like, that's not what we want or we're seeking for. But rather, if someone has found that in his life, the attraction for material energy has reduced, then this is a cause for celebration. It means that we're the recipient in some form of Krishna's mercy. Yeah? If you read Ishopanishad, I'm sure you did, most of you did, Prabhupada compares to a fever. So when you have a disease, maybe you don't know until you get fever. So fever means you have high temperature. So he compares that we have high desire, or we have high attraction for material energy. It means spiritually we're weak. And if the fever decreases, it means we're doing better. It means we're doing better spiritually. So for a devotee, it's not for his own sake, liberation. Let me remain free from troubles in this material world. But he take it that it is Krishna's kind dispensation if he remains free from attraction, to material energy. So this stage, as Prabhu explained yesterday, Davi Yesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. Duratyaya means difficult, but basically it means impossible. It means none of us, if we tried, we could surmount Maya's influence. But if someone has surrendered, then it becomes easy like anything. So this is the bhakti process. If we are the recipient of the mercy, then this indifference to material stuff is, it's inherited, like without further effort. Are we able to put up the TV, Prabhu? Or this is a very special, because this shloka reminded me of another explanation of Prabhupada. This is in 6th canto. And I thought we could read it because it illustrates very beautifully what this verse says. And it is, if you know, this section is Narada Muni is being cursed by Prajapati Daksha. So Narada Muni was, so Daksha had so many sons, 10,000 sons who were brahmacharis, and they went to the forest to do austerities, to prepare for their life in the heavenly kingdom with their wives, and be good husbands. Now, Narada Muni came to the spot, and you know what happened, or maybe some of you don't, but he appeared on the spot, and out of the compassion stemming from his pure devotion, he saw these young men they have potential for the perfection of life. So let me give it to them. That just came from his heart, and he did. So he preached to them about the invalidity of material pursuits, and the message is words entered into their heart. They changed their mind, and they basically all became sannyasi. So maybe I'll just read it if we don't have it. Or anyway, it's 6:541. And now is Prajapati Daksha is preaching his philosophy, okay? And he's saying, and just to give us a picture how this renunciation happens for devotees. He's saying, this is his philosophy, material enjoyment is indeed the cause of all unhappiness, but one cannot give it up unless one has personally experienced how much suffering it is. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment while simultaneously advancing in knowledge to experience the misery of this false material happiness. You got it? So one should be allowed to enjoy materially to experience the false happiness. Then, without the help from others, one will find material enjoyment detestful. Those whose minds are changed by others do not become as renounced as those who have personal experience. So, oh yeah. Yeah, you got it. So, and then this is, Prabhupada calls it Daksha's philosophy. The philosophy of Daksha is that someone, a sterile woman, cannot understand the pain of giving birth. So similarly, someone who has not tried his luck in the material enjoyment cannot understand what suffering it entails. Prabhupada says in the purport towards the end, according to Daksha's philosophy, one should become implicated in material enjoyment so that after experiencing the distress of such enjoyment, one will automatically renounce. Anybody wants to read the next part, like until the end, or I can go ahead. Okay. Meanwhile, okay. Material nature, however, is so strong that although a man suffers at every step, he will not cease his attempt to enjoy. Under the circumstances, unless one gets the association of devotee like Narada Muni, who is servant in disciplic succession, one's dormant spirit of renunciation cannot be awakened. It is not a fact that because material enjoyment involves so many painful conditions, one will automatically become detached. One needs the blessings of a devotee like Narada Muni. Then one can renounce his attachment for the material world. And Prabhupada gives example of his own devotees. So I thought it was a striking point, which is emphasized to this verse, that by any amount of trial and errors, by material intelligence, we cannot come to the conclusion properly that we're meant for the pleasure of Krishna and nothing else, and that material energy cannot offer what our heart is anchoring for. By any amount of repeated attempts. Here Prabhupada is saying, although this is what Prajapati Daksha said, they should go through material life, they should try to enjoy, and when by themselves they understand that it has no worth, they'll become renounced. He says, Prabhupada says, no, one has to receive the blessing of a devotee, like Narada Muni says, or any of his followers. So this is, Prabhupada says in purport, this is the special advantage of being a devotee. And in Bhagavad Gita, if you remember, this is, I think, 2nd chapter, he says, one can achieve this platform of material indifference even by the grace of Krishna, even while attached to the sensual platform. In other words, even if you're not qualified, let's say for renunciation, for example, then there's a special advantage as a devotee that by association we can be placed in such a status. So yeah, so this is the prerogative or special advantage again of devotional service. Now this association we should examine in our life. It's easy to say, but we should see that all of us, we have certainly come under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And this association, as you all know also, it's meant to be done either by physically, right, Vapu, or by the instruction, Bani. And it is not meant to be only, physical or external. Otherwise, there will only be a few candidates, who live with the Guru, for example, who could could benefit. So it means that association like this, Rupa Goswami has told us about the 9 stages of devotional service. So, Shraddha and then Sadhu Sangha. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that this Sangha, Sangha means association, it means attachment as well. So Sadhu Sangha is not just hanging out with devotees, that's one aspect. But really in a deeper sense, Sadhu Sangha means when we accept in our heart one specific sadhu. You understand? Sangha, we become attached to them. It's like bounding with a sadhu. This is the meaning of Sadhu Sangha. So this affinity or proximity with Guru or Sadhu is something it's up to us to cultivate. Kapila Muni has said the same attachment naturally we have for the material is the greatest danger for the soul, right? The same attachment, if you turn towards a sadhu, then that is opening the door of liberation, even unknowingly. If somebody likes a devotee and they don't know he's a devotee, they're making spiritual progress. Just like in New York, the transcendental pastimes of Jayananda Prabhu. It's like everybody loved him. So he allowed everybody to make, like the policemen, the beggars, and so this is a very crucial and central element for each of us, and we should see that we have that affection, or cultivating that affection and deepening connection with Guru. It's to each of us to, introspect. But it says here that if we're able to do that Sangha, and again here it's Krita Prasanga, again, associate closely, then we'll forget about what is very dear to people in general who are without such shelter in the spiritual energy. The body, initially the body, money and other things, and family, etc. Very naturally. I like the example is given, Prabhupada said in beginning of Bhagavad Gita, like a wife who has a lover. Similarly, so the young girl who has a lover, she's going to be like doing all day the stuff she's supposed to do, but she's going to be, her heart's going to rest in another place. And she's going to be always hopeful for that Sangha, for that experience, for that. So, similarly, if we have cultured that treasure of a loving relationship with sadhu, then that will, in any phase of the material circumstances, that will go through the motion of the material world. We'll have to go through old age, disease, and death also. But we won't care as much for it because our heart will be resting somewhere else. And we see those in this particular movement, those who have served Srila Prabhupada in separation for a long time, and we have several of Prabhupada's disciples here. It's easy to cite examples, but His Holiness Jabdaka Maharaj and others. You see how they relinquished every other consideration because of their unconditional, unwavering love for Prabhupada. This is a practical example. This is I can say, the easy path. This renunciation will come. This enthusiasm will come. This eagerness to render service will come. It's like a package deal, you can say, with the when it comes with mercy of Guru, then all the necessities spiritually come also. So Prabhupada says that we should be interested in associating with the pure devotees. So this eagerness to associate, again, it's up to us to cultivate. And if we have such a desire that I want to associate with sadhu, then we're going to keep hearing the instruction. And they carry special power, these instructions. This is going to be later in the fourth canto. The Prithu Maharaj to the four Kumaras. The word that we heard, this is Vani association. The word that one has heard from mouth of sadhu, they are carrying saffron particle, from the lotus feet of Krishna, and therefore they have the power to illuminate one's consciousness. So by association with Vani, we get, eternal or permanent opportunity to associate under any circumstances, any place, and this is this type of association is potent to as much as, let's say, physical. So I guess I'll leave it up for discussion if you Prabhus have any points from here. But in summary, by devotional service, and specifically by associating with a pure devotee, freed from other motives, will surpass all the other stages of yoga rapidly. And this association we should cultivate, and it is up to us. And by such an association, we'll develop all the qualities that we're looking for. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any points? Question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Haribo. Govinda, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for the class, Prabhu. I have just one small doubt. So in the beginning you were mentioning about that if one has sincere desire to see Krishna, he gets a guru. But say after initiation a person falls down, so will he still see Krishna because of his previous desire?
Will he still see, you mean will he still get a chance to see Krishna, or?
You were mentioning that one gets a guru and then he will, by the mercy of guru, he will see Krishna. But if one falls down or do not follow the commands of guru, then will he still be able to see Krishna?
Only the 100% pure will see Krishna. If you mean do you mean face to face, or in this context?
You were mentioning about that.
Guru Kripa Krishna Mile.
Sorry?
Guru Kripa Krishna Mile. If by the grace of a spiritual master, then one gets full revelation of Krishna. He can meet Krishna. That's what the shloka says. Okay, so the desire we have, the spiritual desire we have, frankly, it's the most precious commodity we have. Okay? And it's more important than any variation of material desire we have. And because of remnants of material desires, modes of nature, we act on a lower platform sometimes. And that can only delay the fulfillment of our goal, But Krishna, when he sees that a conditioned soul has a desire to see him, to come to him, this is so precious for him. Like he very cherishes that a lot. And he's going to make so many arrangements so that you can invest in that desire and go and move ahead. If you look how many people are in New York, how many people have a desire to see Krishna. Now think how much Krishna is, you can say, enthused that anybody has finally that. So what I'm trying to say is you'll get a chance. Again, certainly. Yeah? It can only be delayed because of different coverings of the gunas, but certainly you'll get a chance again and again. I think Prabhupada exemplified that a lot with his own disciples. And particularly he said, well, if you make mistake, that is fine, but if it is willful, then there's more reaction. Yeah. So I think Prabhu is wanting to... Is it on the same point, Prabhu? Okay. I think. Is it okay?
Hare Krishna, thank you for the nice class. And you made a nice point in response to his question, but it depends on your desire. Are you listening? Because you asked the question. Hare Krishna. You asked the question, so you should listen. It depends on the strength of your desire. There's that story of the thief who attended Bhagavad Sapta and he heard about Krishna's opulence. So he never rose. It's not a question of falling down. He was already fallen. He was a thief. He had no desire to follow any principles. But he had desire to see Krishna and steal his jewels. So by the strength of his desire, he went to Vrindavan and he actually saw Krishna. So if the desire is strong, yes, there may be some impediments along the way, some fall down. But if the desire is strong, it will ultimately be fulfilled. One time Prabhupada was taking a massage in the garden in Los Angeles. Have you been to LA Temple?
No.
Yeah, so there's that garden is still there. And as brahmacharis, we used to stay in the window and watch Prabhupada interacting with guests. Anyway, so that garden is still there. So Prabhupada is taking a massage. And the devotee asked Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, you said that sometimes fall down is accidental. How do we know that it's accidental? So Prabhupada didn't answer right away. He kept taking his massage. And then later on he said, if the devotee comes back, it was accidental. So desire has to be there to continue, to come back. If the devotee comes back, then it was an accidental fall down.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, of course, the classic example, I mean, if we go in Bhagavatam, the example of Ajamil is there. But practically Krishna tricked him to get back to him. So certainly, that sincerity we have, Krishna cannot forget. If we had it at any point, you know, I don't know if any of you is like this. Sometimes I think, hey, seems like at some point in my life I was much more sincere than now, you know. But Krishna says, Niyabikrama nashusti. You cannot diminish, you cannot lose. So in other words, momentarily we may be covered, but the pure desire of our soul is there, and it's only incremental. It gets cultivated one life after the other. So it can only succeed at some point. Any other point? Did you have a point, or you just...
So you were mentioning about in the 6th canto Daksha's point,
Yeah.
that is that the Prachetas he's like arguing with Narad Muni about?
These are they're called Aryashvas or something.
Aryashvas.
These are his children,
Haryashvas.
his sons, yeah.
And they're all trying to be brahmacharis, and Narad Muni is like encouraging them. Then he gets upset and he's like arguing this, right? That's the context.
Yeah, they went for austerity because, like Kashyapa Muni, you know, you would go to austerity, then you would go like into royal life or
Yeah.
Grihasthasu.
And in the purport, and Prabhupada's making the point that it's not that the pain that we're suffering is necessarily the thing that makes us like turn towards Krishna, but it's the mercy of the devotee. But I was thinking there is somewhat of a factor, or maybe the mercy of devotee allows you to realize that, like, oh, there's another alternative rather than this pain. I mean, like Krishna says, there's no, in the 11th canto, like there's no more painful thing than like chasing after sex life. I mean, there's other examples of like it's described that, you know, the whole material world is like a contraption, more or less, to set up to like help the souls realize that they should turn towards Krishna.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's some of my thoughts on that.
Right, so, but I wish I pulled out the, what is the 7? So, to address the point, yeah, definitely the material world is designed so that we awaken, that conditioned souls finally admits that it can't just be happy by making his own pursuits, right? Yeah. Okay. I found a verse I've meant to tell you at the beginning. It's Prahlad Maharaj. Just to add, so your question is, isn't it that material suffering makes us detach? It makes us initially, but to be on that platform requires a blessing from above, you can say. Just being disgusted is not a very stable element in terms of, like, let's say, renunciation. If that makes sense. And the verse, this Prahlad Maharaj, unless they smear on their, Neisham matista vaturu kramangrim sprishyapta naparta gamo yadarta. They cannot become free of the material conception of life unless they took a shower of the foot dust of a pure devotee. Because this inclination to enjoy, it's only like removed from the heart by such mercy. Does it make sense? Or?
Yeah, that makes sense, because otherwise the mind is just like flickering between accepting and rejecting.
It's either rejecting or accepting until you're on a spiritual platform. And on spiritual platform comes from above, right?
To transcend that. Yeah, it makes more sense now. Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have enough time?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
Okay? Any points? Last? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your association. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.